What do you got? Arca pinche pel, güey. This is your short on Carvana.
What are you doing? You're slowing down. You're slowing down. I'm bringing him in closer, Merlin. You're going to do what?
And you're going to close this at 310, which I think you're already fucked because the price closed today, April 1st, April Fool's at 312. So you're going to want to edit that out probably or move your short. But yeah, this just fucking move it up like you usually do. All right. So I'm looking at Carvana daily time frame. Here is the last 2022 cycle, and it looks very similar to what's going on right now. Distribution. The 50 is crossing over the 200-day moving average. Yeah, just exactly what we saw in the last image. But here you're pointing it out. 50 crosses the 200 distribution. So you trade simply on patterns and vibes, I think is what you call it. So if this pattern happens again, then this should come down and maybe you make a little bit of money. But they look the same. 2022 and 2026 is starting to look a lot alike. Here is Carvana on the monthly, and you're showing the RSI, and there is divergence here. The RSI has been making lower pattern, and price action has been making higher highs and higher lows up until now on a monthly time frame. It looks like in 2022, the MACD headed down, and this is what you're pointing at, that we might be at the same point where this continues to curl down. So this might keep on heading down for a while. We're looking at the weekly time frame, and on the RSI is still showing that divergence where it's heading down, making lower highs, lower lows. If the RSI even does that shit, but it is lower here than it is there is a point. And here it's higher here than it is there. So it looks different. This is going up and this is going down. That usually indicates that this shit ends up heading down, is what you're trying to show me. On the weekly MACD, this is below the zero line, and you think it'll do something similar to this, which where price ended up doing this. So it looks like the move has a lot to go. That's price testing the 50 on a weekly, and it broke down here. It might test it. You think it'll continue to come down probably after this. It might not test the 50 should this pattern repeat itself until it breaks through the 50. Then this has changed. Then it's no longer heading down now. From the start of this move back in whenever the hell this was, here, that's where you started this. And most of the volume from that point in time up to now has been done in this huge bar here. And that average price is $8.39. Doesn't mean that this is going to end up here, but I can see that a lot of volume has been down here, and price usually ends up coming back this way, I think is what you're showing. So again, might repeat itself. Not a lot of volume up in these areas here, some volume sub 50 here, but there's a lot of gaps that might end up getting filled. Here's the accumulation before the run up of the last cycle. The last cycle's peak was August of 21, and you're showing distribution price is heading down, lower highs and lower lows, where then it accumulates for several months before price ends up breaking above the 50 and the 200, and then the price structure changes. It's no longer doing this. It is starting to do that. Okay. Here's some fib levels from the bottom for the start of this move to the top. You suspect that it'll hit $150, the 0.236 level, and then continue to come down. Where that stops, who knows? But good chance that it hits the 0.5. So again, a lot of gaps to fill. These things usually get filled up. The previous cycle and this cycle, you are showing that this point in time here might be something similar to here, and price action will head down, or it'll bounce at this level for one final rally up before it makes its last move down and shits the bed, similar to 2020 and 2022, where it started, came back down to that same level. It bounced, it lost steam, and then headed down, accumulated, and started going back up. Cool. That makes sense. So might find support at about 150. Here's the accumulation that that you're looking for. So it makes sense that price is going to head down or even start accumulating here and then head back up. But there's been no accumulation. This is what you suspect should happen. I don't think it has to happen, but it should happen. Should this pattern repeat? Again, a run up, distribution, sell it to people like you where you buy, and then price goes down. You sell it here because you're, what do they call it? Paper hands, Mr. Paper Hands. And then they buy it here and they run up the price and they distribute it. And then this is where you start buying as much as you possibly can. So it makes sense. It makes sense that these patterns repeat, and there's a high probability of Carvana doing this, when price will head down and then accumulate for a while, not for a week, not for 2 weeks, but for a couple of weeks, several months before it heads back up. How are you wrong? Price starts doing this, higher highs and higher lows, and then you close your short or you move your stop and you keep on taking it in the chin until you realize that you've lost so much money that you have to sell everything at a loss. So that's how your thesis doesn't work out, is it stops doing this and it accumulates and then it starts doing this, heading up. And hopefully by that time you're out or you've made some money. Lastly, here's an arrow to a stock split. Sometime roughly second week of May, they're having a stock split. Reverse split, stock split, who the fuck knows? I don't pay attention to this company. But I think price is probably going to be less per share. So right now it's roughly about $300 per share. It's going to be less then. And I think at that point, if you're still in this trade, retail might run this shit up. So be careful during that time, because that is when things might change if you're still in this short. All right. Best of luck. A ver qué pinche pedo, y a ver qué pasa.